Yeah, the question now is, how do we decipher quality? How do we make sure that Longbottom roasts daily to somebody's order and make sure that coffee is absolutely some of the finest grown in the industry? This is also a question that's complex. You've all heard the word cupping. We cup our coffee, we cup, my palate tastes these specific things like key lime pie or strawberry, or my coffee doesn't taste like coffee, it tastes like perfume. Well, to be honest with you, if my coffee tastes like perfume, I would have to vomit, because my nose and my palate is so sensitive that I can't walk down a soap aisle, or I can't walk into one of these department stores that sells perfume without having to run into the restroom close by and vomit, because my senses react to that type of odor. But I never ever get that sense when it comes to cupping fine quality coffee. There is no key lime pie. There is no perfume. What it is essences, and essences that segue into other essences when it comes to the actual fruitiness of the coffee or the depth of the coffee. So how do we get fruitiness and how do we get depth? So now we say, how do we get fruitiness and how do we get depth? Well, depending on how long the fruit sits on the cherry itself, and if this depth, that's me, excuse me, I have to answer the phone here. Yeah, so I just finished answering the phone call here, but we talk about fruitiness, we talk about depth, and depending on the preparation of the coffee, how it's prepared. If it's a wet process, if it's a European preparation process, if it's a natural dry process, all these processes affect the taste of the coffee. But depending on the region, the country, where it's grown, the altitude, the higher the altitude, the more simple sugars there are in the coffee. The more simple sugars, the harder the bean. So this coffee is coffee that has a lot of depth to it, can be brought up to temperature quicker, and there's more caramel, more creaminess to the taste. Now when it comes to somebody saying their coffee tastes fruity, I want to say fruity rather than key lime pie or perfume. When their coffee tastes fruity, normally what takes place is if there's an East African, like an Ethiopian Harar, or coffee from Mocha, from South Yemen, what happens is these coffees are picked when the fruit has dried slightly on the pit of the cherry. This is a natural process that they've been doing for years. So when you pick the coffee, and you may not pick when it's, there's random type of pickings. They're not waiting till the fruit is perfectly ripe. It could be overripe. It could be perfectly ripe. It could be underripe. But the kicker is this is what the way they've been harvesting. So they've been doing this for decades. So this coffee would have a fruity tones to it, and some even equate this could have a hint of maybe some blueberry notes. To me, it's a stretch. I just say fruitiness. Now, when somebody takes a region like Costa Rican, Guatemalan, Salvadorian, and they tell them they want them to change their normal process, and they want the fruitiness in it, and they're telling them, I don't want you to harvest your coffee or process your coffee the way that you've been doing it for near 100 years. I want you to change that. I want you to let the fruit dry on the pit. so it creates a more fruity flavor. They're not used to doing it this way. And so they do it because they've been paid to do it. And if this coffee is not basically produced, taken off the tree at the right time, there's over-fermentation. And if there's over-fermentation, well, it's like wine. You have over-fermentation, what do you have? You have vinegar. The coffee becomes worthless. So, there is a tenuous side to cupping fine coffee. What I tend to do is there are certain countries, certain regions that have certain taste profiles. I cup for those taste profiles. And we end up buying coffee that has the richest flavor, the boldness, if it equates to that region, that we can get.